G'day ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me on my ecological dynamics and constraints-led approach journey for grappling. I thought I'd mix up the intro. I'm your host Sam Fields. So let's get into it. Basically today's session was just me and Jaden. So it was a quiet day. I think the rest of the week's going to be sort of fairly similar, to be honest, with a few people away sick and Aaron's away at the moment and blah blah blah. So probably a good thing because I'm starting to get into holiday mode because I'm on holidays. I'm going up the coast. Anyway, this isn't a video diary. You don't need to know about that. You're looking for the outcomes. So first game that we played was getting to the back. So stand up, trying to get our chest on the back with our hands connected around the body. So this actually added a little layer of complexity to just getting the arm drag and being able to sort of connect to that back of the thing, because we needed that arm drag to then continue round in order to then connect the hands around the hip or around the torso. It was good though. There was some kind of self-organisation stuff that came out of it. So what affordances were we looking to invited to act upon. So one would be getting round the back with an arm drag, and another would be, so if someone's got the collar tie, popping that collar tie and dragging it across. So that was kind of that was kind of the thing. Ultimately, getting to the back or getting hands clasped around the torso, particularly when that person has an arm trapped or where you're behind their shoulder, is ideal. So for a range of takedowns. The second game was actually the game that I played with Ridwan yesterday when we were working on the omoplata. I discovered that just trying to get, so I've been working on the Quadrant Theory that I've drawn it up for you in the past, but the quadrant is essentially you've got your top quadrant, which is the quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Doesn't really matter which side, what numbers they are, because what we're looking to do is isolate a quadrant. And part of that you can so the person on the bottom was just trying to get their knee over the back to the top, to one of the opposite top quadrants. So either side didn't matter, but what it meant was you stopped sort of trying to worry about the arm and you worried about getting that knee right over. And what I found, so you need, in order to get that knee over the top of their back and on the across the back, is that it allowed so many opportunities anyway to form. So and just doing that yesterday just showed me, in a couple of the free rolls that I had in the past couple of days, just these opportunities for these for like, I think it's Williams and clamp and triangle and blah blah blah. There's just so many different opportunities simply by getting your knee as far over the back to the opposite quadrant as possible, and it really doesn't even matter if you keep a hold of that arm. Like, just having that focus means that whatever happens from there, you've broken their posture with your leg. Doesn't really matter what they come back with, because even if they get their arm back from like, you know, being next to your hip, if they get that back, you just push it into them, and you've got sweep after sweep, or fucking countless fucking countless bloody opportunities. So that was cool. One thing that was really noticeable was that when I tried to do it, even like, you know, one of the good things was I was getting shut down, and part of that was just Jaden constantly moving to flatten my hips. So every time I'd sort of get out a little bit, he would just walk around and flatten the hips, which was cool. It was a good exercise in sort of figuring out, okay, well, if someone knows that's coming, then that's what they'll be doing. So yeah, that was good. We worked on a portion of side control, Kesa Gatame portion, and again, I didn't teach any particular. I didn't teach the escapes, but what I looked at was, okay, you're in Kesa. Here are the things that keep you in there. On the bottom, my goal is to get the person's back on the floor, or their ear on the floor next to my on the opposite side. And so that was the first game. So it was just get the back on the floor, or get their ear up and over the top, over the opposite side shoulder. And what this allowed for was the making of space back and forth. And what I found was, so making a space back and forth, which allowed, you know, the goal, rather than to be like, oh, I've got to do this, you know, horses for courses. He's in this particular position with my arm, and it didn't really matter, because I could make a little bit of space either way, and then when it got to a certain point, I could either put his head there, or my hips were far enough away from him that I could drop him into that area of no man's land that then allows me to come out on top. Here's the thing. One thing that I had to bring Jaden's attention to was he was holding on, but then he was trying to get the head over, but because he was holding on out like this, so his arms were out, as he went to go, I wasn't attached to him, so he would go and be rolling, and I would just be staying on this side because it was all attached, like his arms were outstretched. So I said, look, if you can, as you're making that space, think about keeping me in close and getting that elbow to the ground. It'll do two things. It'll stop me from being able to, control your elbow, because it's lower and on the ground, and also it'll attach me to you. And then, from there, he just nailed that second one. And then the last game that we played was just an addition to that one, and that addition was to put the forehead on the floor in front. So, if they're on this side, Kesa, like that, if you can get their back on the floor there, awesome. If you can get their head over here, awesome. But the other one was put their forehead on the ground here. It opened up. It basically taught all the exits simply by building these games within that ecosystem. right? The ecosystem of the Kesa Gatame to get out, And one thing, that's right. And then, also additionally on that was the person on top was just trying to break the grip, right? So it was just trying to break the grip before they could escape. So yeah, that was the other thing. I thought they were great games. So what were the specific details of my performance? I think the design of the session, I did have to adjust as we went. I am happy with it. Yep. Repetition without repetition. I would like to get more. I would like more people in the class. I think. I think more people in the class would be of benefit. What I said, the instructional constraints and the informational constraints. I'm not going to kick myself for that elbow for sort of giving the advice of the elbow. I could kick myself a little bit, but I'm not going to because I think at the time, like trying to create another game on the fly that necessitates that, when I could just be like, hey, look, ultimately, this is what we're trying to do. So, alright, maybe, how's this? Maybe the game initially should have been, get your elbow to the mat. Yeah, maybe. Okay, there you go. The first game that we should have played while doing Kesa Gatame was he's got that. Our goal is to get our elbow to the mat. That would have been the key thing, I reckon. Yeah, and while the person is trying to, would they be breaking it? Yeah, no. While the person is keeping it off the mat. Alright, maybe. Okay. So in hindsight, I just answered that. Cool. What are the top 3 things to... Okay. I feel like I'm doing alright with this now. Hopefully you guys are seeing the same. I appreciate you coming along for the ride. Ecological dynamics and constraints-led approach. See you in the next one.